Hi Tailoring Talkers, John here, and you'll find me in my garden today as I have the decorators in, so recording indoors is a little bit noisy. And today's video is about the Switch 2. I've been using the Switch 2 for a month now, and I wanted to give you an impression of how it feels having used it for 4 weeks. I want to describe how it's been to use and whether it's worth the upgrade from the original Switch or the Switch OLED. A bit of history. So I bought the original Switch back in 2017 and then updated it with the OLED version, which was released in 2021. In my family, we also have a Switch Lite somewhere. My son's got that, which was a lockdown purchase for the children during COVID. And I've got quite an extensive collection of digital purchases on the eShop, as well as a good library of game cards. I'm a seasoned Switch user and I wanted to dig down into what's new about the device and whether I'm happy about my purchase. Just for transparency, I did actually buy this myself. It's the Mario Kart bundle like Bobby's got. I also bought myself the Switch Pro controller, which I'm going to talk about later on as well. So, the Switch 2. It's definitely a bigger device. The original Switch has a 6.2-inch screen, which was expanded to 7 inches for the OLED model, and the Switch 2 is now 7.9 inches, which is about 1.6 times larger than the original Switch. If I show a comparison here as well, you can see the difference in size. It definitely feels larger to look at, which is great for me. I'm getting a little bit older now. Getting to the age where looking at things close up is harder. So personally, a larger screen is great, but people of all ages will still enjoy the size of this device for its clarity and its detail. So I thought I'd start off by giving you the specs of the Switch 2, if you're interested in what it can actually do. So the resolution of the screen in handheld mode is 1920 by 1080, which is your standard sort of 1080p. It's the kind of the HD size screens of pre-4K TVs. The display type itself is it's an LCD touchscreen, so it's not an OLED screen, which feels like a bit of a step down, but we'll come to that later on. But it does support HDR. It does support a variable refresh rate, although that's only in handheld mode. I don't think it supports VRR when it's docked because of the way the dock passes the signal through to the TV. However, that is up to 120 frames per second, 120 hertz, which is the maximum frame rate in games that support 120 frames per second. The resolution when it's docked is 1440p, so it's just a little bit less than the big consoles. Big consoles go up to 2650, 2600, which is the biggest sort of 4K resolution. But 1440p with the Switch's ability to up-res games using, or smooth aliasing in games using its AI rendering is really good. It's still really good quality. And even when you're holding it in handheld mode, the quality of the screen is way better. And it is 1.6 times larger than the original Switch. So these specs make for quite a powerful device to hold in your hand. And holding the device, it is heavier and the Joy-Cons are bigger. So it does suit a more adult hand size for extended play sessions, but I'll come back to that later. The magnetic snap on and off feature of the Joy-Cons is wonderful and so much quicker. Such an improvement from the slide off ones from the previous generation. One of the games you can get for Switch 2 is called the Welcome Tour, which is a proper Switch nerd's dream if you're interested in the mechanics of the device and how Nintendo planned and built it for maximum usability. So if you want to get more into the device or work out what it's about, it's worth a play if you want to discover more. Let's talk about the trigger buttons. They are larger than before, and they've been designed, if I compare the two buttons, they've been designed to be easier to use when playing games. But this is the one thing I have found a bit more frustrating than the original Switch. They're almost too easy to use. And I found with my finger sitting here, that I've been accidentally activating the the left and right buttons during games. So the number of times I've shot poor innocent NPCs with arrows in Tears of the Kingdom has made me be a bit more careful about how I position my hand around the device. The face buttons are still relatively quiet to use. That's the buttons on the front here. And the positioning of the joysticks feels much better on this larger device. I haven't yet tried out the game chat feature, but once Bobby set up his Switch 2 properly, we might try a test of that. I have used an old USB camera I found in my house. Apparently the older cameras do work better due to the lower quality. But and it has worked, but I'm not sure how well this will work when working, using game chat, as the Switch 2 has an algorithm which warps the edges of the lens distortion in you getting webcams to allow the screen to be flatter, kind of anamorphic style, which may not be compatible with my third-party USB camera. Going back to the camera, yes. So third-party cameras do work, but I think maybe in a later video we'll have to update you on how that works and how game chat works with Bobby. Both of these do come off and become nice, so you can take these off and use them as a mouse mode. I have to admit I have not used them very much beyond some of the demos in the Welcome Tour game, but they do work really well and they're much better than I thought actually. I've not been a PC gamer for many years, so I just don't know whether I'll ever need to use them in this way, but it is a really inventive and clever solution which Nintendo designed, and I think you'll probably see a lot more PC games ported to the Switch, which can only be a good thing. So games. Overall, I think the Switch 2's had a kind of a lackluster set of release games. Obviously, it's got the wonderful Mario Kart World, Bobby's favourite, as its big system seller. But it does lack a fully fledged platforming adventure like Mario Odyssey to keep people interested. And a lot of the games released are either third-party ports like Cyberpunk 2077, or there are 4K upgrades for the older Switch games. This may change once Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out later on this month, which looks amazing. And that has been made by the Mario Odyssey team, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Having said that, I've only got about 10 hours into Tears of the Kingdom, so I've been playing that and it looks amazing in 4K on my TV. So that's definitely worth the paid upgrade. It's also worth remembering that the Switch will only display games in 4K when docked, as the dock contains a fan which prevents the Switch 2 from overheating and gives it more performance. In handheld mode, you do get 1080p, as I said before, which is more than enough for the compact screen. So this 4K mode dock, this has been the biggest change for me. I rarely, if ever, played my original Switches in docked mode, apart from, the couch co-op games I play with my family, like Overcooked and Mario Kart. But I definitely use the Switch 2 much more in docked mode now, as it can compete in terms of quality with both the Series X and the PlayStation 5 in terms of graphics in selected games. As I said, the Switch 2, the caveat there is it's a bit less consistent in terms of which games support this. One of the new games I bought was Fast Fusion, which is like a high-quality racing game which gets lots of inspiration from Wipeout. It's not an expensive game. In the UK, it's about £15 on the eShop, but it has loads of quality options when docked and looks amazing in the higher quality modes. It's blown me away. I've also tried other games like Wolfenstein 2, which doesn't seem to have a patch to improve the graphics, and it doesn't look any better on the big screen than when I had docked my previous Switch. It still looks kind of a bit foggy and fuzzy around the edges. The Witcher 3, however, on my device has benefited from the faster processor. The Switch 2 processor is known as the Drake, which has hardware. It's an Nvidia, custom Nvidia T239 processor. And that includes hardware for ray tracing and AI processing. But it does make the Witcher 3 run more smoothly, and it feels a bit more polished. So I'm hoping as time goes on, other games will get updated to improve how they look too. So let's look at the accessories. The Switch 2 comes with the bundled Joy-Con grip, which again works really well with the magnetic connectors, and they slip in really quickly and really easily. I've really enjoyed taking them off and putting them back in again, just for the pleasure of doing it. It makes them also much easier to remove when the device is docked. And Nintendo even redesigned the dock, so knowing you were going to remove them whilst it was plugged in. And they've made the top edges of the dock more curved to allow your hands to get to the Joy-Con release button. So Nintendo really are paying attention to how this device is used. The Switch 2 Pro controller is excellent. This is possibly the best controller I've used, and actually makes me a better gamer when I'm playing my Switch games. Something about the zones, the joystick zones, makes the game slightly easier and more intuitive. It's lovely to use as it activates my Switch 2 and my TV at the same time with the press of the home button. The coating of the controller is great too, having a kind of a soft touch feel without it being too squidgy. They've got mappable extra buttons at the back here. You can just see them under here on the rear of the controller, which are great. They're not too intrusive, and you can actually hold down the home button and map them in game whilst you're playing it, which is really useful. There's also an audio jack, and it has amiibo functionality as well, so you can put your amiibos on the top and get all your goodies into your games. It has all the usual motion controls and HD rumble. It's an essential purchase for you if you're a big Nintendo fan. It is slightly pricier than normal controllers. It costs about £75, but I do not regret this purchase at all. It's a great controller. I kind of use it more than anything else now. You can also get a pluggable camera, the Switch 2 camera, which works with the game chat features, a bit like a Zoom call. And it also has some really cool in-game features, like showing your upset face to all the players when you get beaten at Mario Kart. I'm not sure if I'll be using this much, as I tend to use my Switch 2 as an offline device mainly, but I can see this being a great feature for younger players who hook up and chat online often, like my son does. The camera features some clever tech as well, which isolates your face from the background. It is maybe lower in quality than more modern video chat software, but I think Nintendo have been clever to decide this would be the best way to do it, to reduce latency during calls and fallen calls. You can get an elegant black camera or a Piranha plant version camera, which I think the plant version is more popular, but is lower in quality even than the black camera, and some people have complained about this, so I'd approach that with caution. Overall, let's look at the positives and negatives. On the plus side, it's bigger, it's more powerful, it's more user-friendly, and feels like a really cool futuristic new gadget. The larger screen is a real plus, and the higher quality of graphics in dock mode mean I have been neglecting my PlayStation 5 over the last few weeks. The new games are great, and it feels like less of a compromise to play them on the small device in terms of quality. You feel like you're playing really full-on games. The new Joy-Cons are much better to use as shared devices when you take them off and play them in co-op. And the magnetic attachments are a dream. Let's look at the negatives. The larger screen and the higher quality rendering does have an impact on battery life. So I get a maximum of about 3 hours use from it, possibly less if I'm playing the new games like Mario Kart World. If you're mainly a docked user, this won't be an issue. But if you travel a lot or you play away from the TV, you might want to consider bringing a charging block with you. The device actually does have 2 USB charging ports, one at the top and one at the bottom. So it does make charging whilst playing easy. You can plug it into the top. The Joy-Cons still don't have Hall effect joysticks, which the Hall effect joysticks use magnets to detect where your sticks are rather than physical contacts, which makes them not susceptible to stick drift. But I'm wondering if the magnets in the side of the Joy-Con or the side of the device, I think they're in the device actually in the edge here. I'm wondering if the magnets would affect how the Hall effect sticks would work, and so just for the very nature of this lovely removable controller means you can't ever have Hall sticks. I don't know, maybe that's something you can mention in the comments below if you know more about it. As such, at the moment, I've not seen any issues with the joysticks, but it's worth waiting on that and seeing what happens. As for comfort, I think using the Switch 2 in handheld mode over a long time, you see where it sits in my palms. The corners of the Joy-Con start to kind of hurt my palms, I think because of the extra weight. So bear that in mind. If you're going to play it for a long time, you might want to buy some plastic grips, add-on grips, to make the device more comfortable. As an existing user of the Switch of all the generations, for me this is an essential upgrade. It definitely helps to have an existing library of games to play on, some of which have benefited from a coating of polish with the better graphics, Mario Kart is excellent and more than enough to go on player with until the next game arrives, and the whole device feels really premium and exciting. You can currently get the Switch on its own for £395, or bundle with Mario Kart World as a digital code for £430. See Bobby's video about that. At time of recording, it's also relatively easy to get hold of one from the usual store. So don't buy it too expensively on eBay, you can still get hold of it on most online stores. That's my 4-week opinion of the Switch 2. I'm really enjoying it. Are you thinking of getting a Switch 2? If you've already bought one, what do you think? Leave me a comment below and tell me your thoughts. As always, like and subscribe to keep watching our channel for more videos, and probably do some more videos about the Switch 2 as well with Bobby. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.